Hey, Louvain, and welcome back once again to Gary Grigsby's War Days 2. We're here with the 6th turn, and I'm ready for the air war. Now, because we have encircled Odessa, I now want the 4th Air Fleet to start doing some naval ops around Odessa. So I'm gonna select that, and I'm actually quite curious to see whether there are other areas. Yeah, okay, wow, we can actually also do it around Lake Ladoga. Alright, well, it's not the Azov Sea that I'm looking for, the Black Sea. Come on. Yeah, Odessa. Here we are. Alright, so I want them to do naval ops around Odessa. And, yeah, that's pretty much about it, so let's have the AI do its magic and get started. Now, this is a special bonus episode, which is brought to you by my Patreon supporter, Tom. If you would like to see extra videos as well, head down to patreon.com, see which level of support suits you. And, yeah, we're getting pretty close to Kiev. I'll see whether I can get the 6th Army to zoom in a little bit on that, but we'll have to see. I really hope that the weather will clear up a little bit for the next turn, because this is, well, I don't want to say it's a disaster that we already have rain, but it's not amazing. And certainly it's a bit of a problem. I actually do not know whether I have historical weather turned on, whether that's actually a thing in this new game, or whether I do have it on random. There is a table for it, a weather table, but yeah, they did do some naval activities. Let's see if this hex is isolated. Yes, it is. Great. Okay, so we do have them covered now. So let's start actually with the Romanians over here. I also kind of want to do a little bit of an overview on this turn. If we look here, we can see that currently the Soviets actually have more forces than we do on the map. I'll make sure that that will no longer be the case, but that is something to watch out for. They don't have as many total forces as we do, but it's something to keep in mind here. That's one thing. If we take a look at the losses, we now see that we have 124,000 men losses, of which most of them are disabled. So let's hope they actually return. Almost 500 men captured, about 43,000 killed. If we look at the Soviets, we see that most of the men were captured, almost 1 million men captured out there, and 180 killed, and disabled is roughly 200,000. But yeah, those losses are about 10 to 1 for the moment, so that is currently still a good ratio. At the very least, that's good. If we take a look at the weather, we can see here indeed some problematic low pressure fronts here, and here. Of course, with a high pressure front, I believe that's generally like clear weather, I believe. But low pressure fronts are just generally no good. So that's always a problem. In terms of victory points, of course, Smolensk, we're behind on schedule so far. So that is unfortunate. I do hope at the very least to potentially take where is it? Odessa. Is it really not a victory? Yeah, here it is. Odessa indeed. We're supposed to take it on turn 17. So hopefully we can do a little bit better on that. Besides, one thing that I always like to do is take a little bit of a look at the captured things, see if there's anything interesting in between everything we've captured. Something special. In this case, the 107mm mortar is, we've got very little of that. That's fairly special. 107 M1910/30 field gun. Finally, we got some 203mm howitzers, Stalin sledgehammers. I was waiting for these to show up. Yeah. But never mind that. A lot of regular howitzers, we're actually not using them so far, interestingly enough as well. Anything interesting? BT-7As, the cavalry tanks. Got a few of them. BT-2s. Okay, that's a 1932 tank. Pretty much the oldest tanks that they're fielding so far. The Soviets have a lot of tanks. T-40 amphibious tank. That's quite something. We also already got a bunch of KVs here. Over 60. Already 100 T-3441s, interestingly enough. That's, wow. No T-34 M1940 model. Also no T-50s currently. Well, we'll see whether we'll capture any of those eventually. Yeah, either way, in the south. Let's get started. So it seems like at the very least they gave up this here position up to the Yuzhny Bug. So with the 3rd Romanian Corps, I should be able to grab at least quite a bit of territory there. And let's go like this, so we're actually going around all of those hexes. Let's capture Berezovka. Now, if we're looking at the historical capture dates, this is a little bit ahead of schedule, so that's good. We're not behind schedule everywhere, just in some places. But yeah. All right. So that's good. Now, what I'll do here is I'll have some of these units move to the back. I know that it's isolated now, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have some of these guys here on refit. I don't want all my units to immediately go and attack, and I want to collect a little bit more artillery, etc. So currently I feel like I'm not really in a position yet where I can go and attack. I apparently cannot put these guys on refit, so let's have them move up front, and then I can actually get the 5th Romanian Infantry Division actually to the back and get them on refit too. The same, I guess, works for the front Romanian Infantry Division. Frontier Romanian Infantry Division. A Puto anti-tank? Okay, well. And you should be on refit too. Now, what I need to do at the start of each turn is I need to go to the commander's report screen, and every single unit that is currently in reserve status, I should stop having them in reserve. Can I select that here? I guess I can. It doesn't matter if they're in refit, because I'll go over all my units anyway. But I don't want any of my armored units to go and support my units on my turn. That is definitely something that I do not want. Either way, it does mean that we'll have these 3 HQs. Let's actually see how far we can fix up the rail here. And then I cannot fix it any further. Okay. Either way, we do have this. I have a place for them to retreat to, so that's always good. But I'm not gonna attack. And they are at least isolated for the moment, so that should as well make these guys a little bit weaker. But I'll start attacking on the next turn. Also, what I need to do is I need to start getting the artillery over to the core level. Yeah, so let's start doing that. And I believe it is the 11th, 5th, and 2nd. Okay. But the forts are under the 11th, and for all intents and purposes, you also have the Frontier Romanian Corps. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, let's take a look. The 5th also has quite a bit, and then the 2nd not so much. So I'll send a big chunk of the artillery to the 2nd. At least. And does the 2nd have pioneers? They could at least use one more. Okay. And then you guys. You have 3 and you have also 3. So I will divide the rest of the artillery over the other 2. Over the 5th and the 11th. I do want to put all of this in on locked as well. Let's see, so it's locked, locked, locked. Good. I might decide to switch up some of these leaders as well, depending on, well, the just missile cost is insane. How about you? $26, $26. But can I get a much better one? That's kind of the problem, the thing. And the answer is not really. So let's just leave it. It's not worth the points. Clearly. But I do want to assign the support units actually just a little bit lower along the line as well. So let's already start giving them some support units here. And I know that they can't get all of it, but they will eventually. Because next turn I'll also get the artillery, so I'm not too worried. I'll take care of the rest on the next turn. This is fine. And do I have anything in Army Group Antonescu? Not really. So we're okay. Now, if we look at Army Group South, can I send... Where? Oh, you guys don't have the heavy armor? No, they must still be in Army Groups in the Oak Age. That's probably what it is. Anyway, the Cavalry Romanian Corps has some machine gun battalions. Let's just leave those. I don't think it's necessary to deal with that. You don't have support units. That's good. Okay. Let's start going here. Take Jampol and just first take all the empty hexes. For one second I was afraid that they held. I mean, it could have been possible, but I would have found it pretty unlikely. What is not unlikely is the enemy holding here, but I'll try. No, indeed, and I lost a lot for that. Let's just do it this way. Okay. And let's put all of them on refit. So they suffered quite a bit, I guess. But if I can, I will move them closer to the front for a bit. But these guys are quite weak, especially at the moment. So where are they missing? They're missing tanks, huh? Okay. Well, that's fine. Nothing to worry about there. All right, so let's deal with this pocket here as well. Also clears out quite a few Soviet tanks. I did talk about how the Soviets, they still have roughly, yeah, they have apparently 2,700 or 3,700 tanks fielded on the battlefield still. So that is quite a lot, actually. You cannot take any of those other hexes. Neither can you. I mean, you can do a heavy attack there, but then the okay. I probably will not be able to beat them then, because this is behind river, so that's just not gonna be favorable terrain. Unless, nah, that's also no good. In here, I'm also trying to take additional hexes wherever I can. But I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna have the 3rd Romanian army start moving east at any rate. The rest of these units can deal with this, and yeah, I don't feel like it's necessary to do much more. Okay, let's also start moving these guys up. I did say I want to clear them or to start moving them, so let's go. Yeah, you can stay there. The Romanians are more powerful than the Hungarians, and then the Hungarians are better than the Slovaks, I guess, so, or more powerful at least, so in that sense. How are you doing on artillery? You have none. Okay. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, and you guys can stay there. The railroad to Beltsy is not finished at all, I think. No. There's no real reason then to continue moving. I'd rather just stay on those areas, at least where the rail has been fixed, potentially. Anyway, that does deal with them, so that's good. Let's remove this again. Alright. That means that after that, I do want to take a look at any of these units, which might now have an ability to move. Probably not. And they didn't. Except we only have this HQ. I'll use it to support a depot, but that is generally about it. Alright, let's start dealing with the 6th Army. And also with the Pripyat marshes a bit, because why not? I want to start getting these guys also somewhat out of here, moving through up towards this area. I do not see it being very useful to hold these units here. Let's move you up here, taking as many hexes as possible without impeding the movement too much. That's pretty decent. And as for the second one, let's go for Borjanka. I wonder what the historical capture date for that is. Borjanka, 23rd of August. So we did. It's funny because this is 29th. July 17th. Huh. It took them quite a while to get from this part over up to there. But then we do have quite a bit of catching up to do in this side here, which I will try to do now because, you know, I did have these guys on refit over here. So let's at least hope it did them somewhat well. It does look like it though. I mean, they are, I don't want to say back at full strength. That's definitely not the case, but especially not for these. 11th Panzer is still doing quite poorly. I mean, they can move, but that's about it. Okay, I could potentially move them into Shitomir. That's not enough yet, obviously. Okay, let's move them a little bit ahead then. The thing is though, is that I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move you up from Khorestan, and these are just machine gun battalions. I should be able to brush them aside with a weak attack without too much trouble. If they don't have any unit in here, that's great. It seems like they have only depots in this area, so that should allow me to then move in here. Yeah. Or they have only machine gun artillery battalions. Okay, so this is secure. You guys can then move through here next turn and here. So then we'll basically have gotten through the marshes. I'm not sure as to how much these hexes will turn into marshes. I mean, it does not look great, this territory. The Chernikov region. Despite this already being bad enough. Right, I see no reason to move these guys further. Yeah, you're not in supply, but that should be okay. Alright, I'm generally inclined to just, you know, do the easy tasks first. And if we look at, for example, the 17th Corps, it does look like they're not going to be able to do any attacks, for example. Like, they can move, and that's just pretty much about it. So what I'll do is I will use them to start establishing a line of defense. I generally like to uphold like a in order to make sure that we have the zone of control covered, I want to have 2 units or 2 hexes in between as a rule of thumb. So for you guys, you're gonna move in here, and for me to have such a relatively loose formation, it also kind of does allow me. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so Berdichev is not going to cut it. it does allow me to concentrate the rest of the army a little bit further, although I do also have a few units down there. You're not overburdened, no, not by a long shot. Okay. What do we have down here then? It's just the 17th. Okay. Anyway. You're part of that corps, huh? Yeah, so I have these guys as a screening position over here, and that allows me to move this last part. And the question is, do I want to move it towards Kiev? And to be frank, I actually do not think so. The main thing is that I want to push further into the Nikolaev and then region. Basically, I'm gonna try and go for some encirclements over in this area, in the hopes of, you know, cutting off some more enemy forces. So I might want to use these forces for that purpose. And they are relatively close to the front, so they might actually still be able to potentially, like for example here, do a soft attack. So I would generally be looking at some of these raid units. Like, you are not going to attack at the moment, so I would want to send them further down. But let's just start over here. Now this is the rail unit. Sure, let's deal with it. Let's do that first. So yeah, sure. Now from here I can move either up or down, and because I have these guys down here now starting to move up, I mean these guys are a lot slower, but I think what I want to do is I want to use the Romanians to build on this rail line here currently, while I'm moving up with the other unit. What I'll do is I'll move up here to Andreyushev, then to Fastov, and then start working on the rail over to this side towards Korsun, and then here. I actually want this rail line down here to start working on this rail line down here, because even though at Kiev we have one there, I want to work on the rail line crossing here from Gomel and then further down. I will have a rail unit go through here, so then I don't necessarily need to have this one in that direction. Either way, I will work on this one to go up right now. And sweet, okay. That should be pretty decent. They're actually making relatively good progress, so I'm not complaining about that. But all right, so that is good, nice. You see, this looks like a relatively weak position to me, and I'm looking for units that might do a heavy attack still, like this infantry division, and it can't, so that's good. Routing them, nice. Seems like a relatively weak cavalry division. These guys seem a little bit tougher, but I need to create a breakthrough in this section and then continue on moving. Now you will not be able to do a hard attack either way, so that is out of the question. These guys are very powerful, maybe a bit too powerful for an attack on this. Where's your HQ? 4th Corps, there you are. Should turn that off though. I don't think I need that. The Russians still have some planes there though, but that's fine. The last one that I need to push are these guys. Now, if I attack from this hex, that would be across the river. So that's not necessarily the attack that I want to make. Whereas I think these guys might be powerful enough with air support. They retreated. That is actually pretty unfortunate. What's even more unfortunate is that they now can no longer move. Ivangorod Depot. There's no Ivangorod here. Oh, this is Ivangorod Airfield. Never mind. So, I mean, I could potentially like take all of this, get an encirclement going like that, maybe. I would have to see whether that actually works. But it surely does look interesting as a concept. I would then... How far could a unit from you guys move in? Not far enough, so that does certainly not help. You can though, so I'm actually fine with moving you up. I know I cannot attack, but at least they will be able to hold the position. And what I could do technically is get in 2 units to do a soft attack on them. But again, that might not be the most amazing. In actuality, what I more likely will need is a motorized unit that will do a heavy attack on them to make them rout. Which, you know, it sucks that I have to do that, but... Okay. The reason why I also kind of want to do that is because, for example, this unit, they actually cannot move into either of those hexes now, interestingly enough. Like, they can move up. But then I'm not too interested in that. Your movement is terrible. Just like in reality it is for you guys. It seems like it is actually still pretty far. But let's see how far I can get. Because it seems to be a possibility at least to move in here, but they will have a unit in either of those locations. For sure. And then it's probably best to try and get as close as possible to make it into a somewhat smaller encirclement. Because whatever unit I'm going to use over here, it will have to push through this. And, you know, that's... You would be able to do a heart attack, so let's actually get in there with the 60th. They won't? Ah, wow, really? Well, that's certainly something. Well, then I will use both of them here. Because if I fail this attack, then I might just as well not encircle them at all. Okay. At least we got that going. Then I want to also certainly not move back. I mean, these are also quite powerful. They can just attack here, but the fact that they are at least entirely encircled now does mean, at the very least, that they will not have oh, now I used both of them, and I cannot take that back, obviously. That was annoying. But it does mean that at least these units, or whatever 100,000 troops or so, cannot move out of that pocket in one go. So regardless now, we'll be able to continue on going. And depending on how I feel like it, I can even move with you guys quite a bit. Now besides that, I'm gonna make a few attacks in order to also just weaken these guys. An attack like this is not necessarily the most amazing, but one other thing that I don't mind doing, I guess, is making smaller encirclements out of this, which I think would also be pretty decent. Yeah, they got out, that's fine. I don't need to get all of them. But it might be that now, hey, it kind of looked like I could actually move some of these in there. Eh. It's just barely not enough. Because I would like to actually break this up. Maybe I still should. So that, you know, it will be tougher for them anyways. Yeah, I know now. Well, you could actually go in here. This should make things a bit more problematic for these rifle divisions, either way. Okay, so how far can you go? You can go up here. I actually do think that is fine. It also allows me to not only take a bit of a look, but also potentially make another encirclement over here. Gathering more territory over in that direction. I would not mind that. Looks like you can also move forward. The tricky part here is that if I move them here, they can still move in through this. So that's not necessarily the way to go. Whereas for you, I do want the 11th Army to be further down south. Like, I like to have a bit of a distinction between the different armies. And the reason why I do want that is because it's nicer to do that in terms of a gameplay perspective, I think. Okay, well, you guys will certainly just go in here. Continue moving. Like, this is what I meant with some of these guys might still have the ability to do a light attack on the cavalry. In which case I do like to try and put them up for it. You guys are quite advanced, so I can actually see them participating in that encirclement as well. Of course, I do still have Viking that can probably get pretty far. Although I would probably much better send them up north for a second encirclement here. We'll see then how far they can get. Like, it would have been nice to take Purple Mice, but yeah, we still have time. Either way, as for you, moving you in here will almost assuredly make sure that they cannot get out. So let's just do that for now. I mean, this is only 20,000 troops. It's nothing major or anything, but any amount is, I think, welcome. So let's do that. Okay, so we see these guys around here. In this case, the fact that they went to help is actually pretty good, because it means that they will not very likely do that a second time. This is also interesting because it means that very likely they will have units in here too. Not that these guys can do anything. Except move further up, I guess. Yeah, so you cannot perform an attack on that. So then, as far as I'm concerned, you guys might just as well move forward. Whereas you can, and they should already be weakened. They are now at 1 strength, so I can totally see them break afterwards. Okay, so they also have that there. Fair enough. enough, fair enough. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna use the Slovakian Mobile Brigade to do a bit of scouting. Now, do I think they can fight really well or something like that? No. But it will allow me to move around a little bit. Okay, so they have no units here or here. But I'm not sure about this hex. Given the current situation, how would I want to proceed? They are very likely going to have forces in here. But I might... If I break through here, then I would need to push quite a few units to the side, and you cannot perform a hard attack there. Nor are these guys actually capable of doing any attacks for the moment. Yeah, they cannot do that much for this turn either. Now, where is my rail? Let's see. There's nothing out there. And I mean, I've been working on that rail line up, so that is that. Yeah, I need this. Okay. So there's no doubt in my mind that I can make the encirclement, but the real question is, how am I gonna do it? What else do I have here that could potentially allow for an attack? You could do a heavy down there, but there are no other units that could perform such a feat. It's one unit, yeah, and that's about it. I'm gonna need to think about that. I'm gonna start actually with something easier, I suppose, which is moving these further up north. And with clearing enemy units from this pocket. Or at least I'll try to. There's, of course, they're on the other side of the Berezina. At least I believe that's the... It's not. Which river is this then? Does it even say? Oh, it is. Yeah, I mean, this is not the Dnieper. That's this one, the thick one here. The River Drut. Okay. Is there any way you guys can still perform another solid attack? Maybe here. I guess they retreated. That counts for something. And I got the depot. So maybe it helps. Seems like the guys around here are fighting tooth and nail. Still, anyway. Ugh. So yeah, let's just also move up with you. I'm actually quite curious what they have around there. Okay, so in reality, let's work on the rail line to have a unit move off of that hex there. But I would also not mind, indeed, getting a rail line across. Now they can actually move in there, so I will get them there. But for now, I just looking to get these units across. Now, if there's a unit in these light woods, I would at the very least need a hard attack in Rogachev. And there's only one unit that can do that at this point, which is this one. Oh, it's here, huh? Alright, well, let's actually just go. Like, I need to clear them out at some point, and I actually rather try to do that sooner than later as well. It's gonna be a hard job regardless. But let's do it. This is a weak attack, but still, you could make it, and you did, luckily, and barely. The reason why I'm okay with this attack now, I know, by the way, that they're now in these heavy woods here, sure. The reason why I like it, though, is because now I can at least get these 2 hexes for myself. I do have to say that okay, well, fine. You have no shot here at anything. Okay, so let's cross. The thing is, if I move in here, I feel like I'll probably get all of those hexes already. I did. Okay, Leningrad Militia Rifle Division, huh? And let's, I guess, move you down. I have to say that if they were to cut me off again, I would be a little bit sad. I don't think that's gonna happen though, but let's actually attack with you. You're weaker. Because I want to use these. I mean, you gotta make this. Yeah. It would be fairly retarded if they didn't. That is really the only attack that I think they could possibly make as a weak attack, that is. Now, at this rate, I'm actually looking for another encirclement as well over in this direction. Not all of these units are extremely powerful. So what I would be looking at is potentially encircling them here and from, I guess, here maybe. Or through here. I don't think these guys are that powerful. And then I would have to cut them off through the center. I guess maybe moving towards Earth's level. Something along those lines. Or break through here. And then also move down through this way. Encircling this. And because then if these guys get encircled, then effectively that just allows me to then bypass Smolensk, which is probably a virtual fortress right now. Like, assaulting Smolensk from the front is just not a good idea, and I would actually say, like, it's near impossible, I think, to take that on time. At least I would think they'd be hard-pressed to get it on time. Yeah, let's actually still move back to take those hexes. And let's have the Politsai division do this and this for now. That should mean that... oh, they have a port here. Okay, so I would still need to get across there and then move into that port, technically. I can technically cut off the rail line here, but then you have to question yourself, what does it do? Well, not really a whole lot, I think. What I need to do in reality is, I think, hold this. Yeah, it's actually fine though, like this. I cannot get in there, but yeah. I still got a reasonable amount of territory here. At least as far as Estonia is concerned, I'm not complaining about this amount. Well, surely I will move in here, but then the one question is, do I move in here to take whatever other hexes they might have? Now, if this unit is out here, and I go in here, I think they would be isolated. No, they can cross through this way. So that's not true. Wow. Now, I'm actually going to use this army corps to just move further, and I'll just use this one infantry to get it. What I'll do though is I'll go in here, attack them, push them back across the other side, and I guess take whatever potential hexes I can. Which apparently is not much, but that's okay. I'll just leave you there. I can take my sweet time. I'm actually surprised by the little amount of routes up here. They would be isolated, yeah. But it also means that I need to move you here. I don't know how much they have, but it would be hard for them to break out, I guess, maybe. We'll see. My position, at least in Estonia, has been improved by quite a bit. And, yeah, except for, I guess, this city, Mustfee. I guess we're on track. Not so much in this area, but still. Either way, I do think I want to wrap things up over here. I've taken care of quite a few things so far. So I'll continue with, well, whatever I feel like in the next episode. I want to thank everybody for watching. Do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. A special shout out to my Patreon supporters: Poomnerau, Dungeon Pastor, Thomas Love Trilling, Thomas B. Marshall, C Data, and Swords. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care, and